ordering, because we get everybody that comes up here, and you know, they throw their garbage and they do different things. And lately, the circle has been turned into a garage. I mean, as I'm speaking, there's people out here now that are working on cars. So they think it's okay, you know, to come up here and change their tires and do everything else with their cars. And I don't know what else that we have to do to try to rid the block of all these people that come up here. I know it's because that we keep it clean and things like that. And if we stop keeping it clean, then it's just going to be a jungle. So if anybody has any ideas or can assist us, it would be greatly appreciated. I also know that it's very dark up here, and maybe some lights would help. And also on the call is probably Margie and Carlene. If they wanted to say a couple of words, they're welcome. But any ideas that you can help us, please do so.
Okay. Now, can you tell us where this is again?
Have you heard of Bissell Gardens? Have you heard of Bissell Gardens?
Okay.
Have you heard of Bissell Gardens?
I have. Okay. And you said there's a bunch of trash that's going on there?
Well, we kind of cleaned this block. At one time, there was a gentleman that would clean the whole Bissell Gardens, but I don't know what happened. They don't clean anymore. I don't know if it's health reasons or I don't know what happened. But anyway, it's like 5 blocks to go across. But Grace Avenue is basically like the cleanest block. Like if you go over to Edson, I mean, Edson is like a jungle. I don't know, the people over there must don't care or whatever. So all the cars just come up there and, you know, that they do their drugs and everything else, prostitution and everything. So they come over this way, and when they come over this way, we try to call either 311 or 911 to get rid of them. But they may go away for a couple of days, and then we turn around and right back.
Okay.
And then,
So, well, let me
if we don't get the cars, then we get the people that's walking.
Okay. So let me say this, Mr. Michael. So what we've done, so we've got our district manager on, and we've got our community associate Ursula Green on. And so I think we're all hearing this, and I'm taking notes as well. And so being that I'm taking notes, like I said, so we will all, you know, get on this and, you know, investigate this and see, you know, what we can do. Now, obviously, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So,
Absolutely.
you know, we'll report this out to the agencies to be, and then hopefully, you know, get some resolution for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, because we can't even walk out our door.
Okay. Okay. Well, tell you what. So we're gonna work on that, and like I said, we will hopefully have something positive to report to you next month. Okay.
Okay, and I don't know if the other two wanted to say something or not.
What's that? Well, you don't know who?
Margie and Carlene.
Okay. Is it about the same topic?
Well, I guess that they would probably have a different type of comment maybe from me, but it's all in the same area. So.
Okay. Well, normally, you know, we normally have one person speak on, even if it's on behalf of a group of the same topic. So because there's so many things that we've got to get done. So, you know, one person, you know, would be sufficient. So we thank you, Ms. McMorris. And like I said, we'll get on that for you. Okay.
And we are appreciative. Okay.
All right. You got it. Okay. So next up is, okay, let's see here. So next up, of course, is Mr. Sotomayor. So let me see, Mr. Sotomayor, if I can get your number here because you gave it to me. And let me see if I can find you, Mr. Sotomayor. So please forgive me right now. I'm looking for you. If you know how to unmute yourself, Mr. Sotomayor, that's up. I got you. All right. So, Mr. Sotomayor, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Burke. The reason I'm calling is basically 2 things. We had a meeting yesterday with the people of 4747, the overseers of that shelter. And to be truthful, we were we were going to have an hour's meeting, supposedly. It only lasted 33 minutes. And to be truthful, nothing really was accomplished. Everything remains status quo. There hasn't been any progress made on what's going to be done with this shelter. They had nothing new really to tell us. And this is kind of disappointing when the people over at the west side of Manhattan can get things done and we cannot get things done, especially since we've been complaining about this since the very beginning. We weren't able to get any meetings with the people in charge of the shelter that, West Hab. And it's kind of disappointing to see that how this is going on. And like Mr. Assemblyman Dinowitz said, if you have the monies and you live in the right neighborhood, you can get things done, and that's unfair. And my other topic on here was there's an empty lot where they were going to put a nice building on 241st and White Plains Road. Nothing seems to be happening there other than the collection of debris all over the place. This about a couple of weeks ago, the whole lot was full of junk, weeds, and everything growing there. Somebody came in and they cleaned it out. But the fact that the street all around that the boarded area is constantly full of garbage, of dirt, everything. Today, I happened to see a lady. I don't know if she was doing this on her own, that she was cleaning up that whole curve there. And I felt so sorry for her. I'm sorry. I was so sorry that I couldn't do anything for her because she was just cleaning it all up, and it was almost impossible. And this, like I said, happens constantly. So I just wanted to report this to the board and see if something could be done about getting the owners of that area there or that lot to have a constant cleanup campaign there. If they own the property, they should keep it clean. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for the time.
Not a problem. So thank you very, very much, Mr. Sotomayor. So I'm looking in the chat. I guess the nice thing about the chat is that you can see what's going on. So I'm looking in the chat. So one of our board members, Mr. Figueroa, has stated that that project is in the works and that they're going to be building soon, Mr. Sotomayor. So, and I trust Mr. Figueroa. So if he says it, then it's going to happen. So, you have that from me. But in the meantime, that is something that, we will get on for you. Okay. All right, Mr. Sotomayor. So last but not least, outside of our elected officials is our very own Ms. Bennett. So she has some information that she would like to provide us in this session. And so with that being said, I would like Ms. Bennett to unmute herself. And, she's got 3 minutes to make her presentation. Nigeria. Okay, Jerry, you're up.
My computer is what it is.
Hey, Jerry, you're having problems with your computer.
Hello?
Yeah, Jerry, it's very difficult to hear you.
Okay, so
I'll have to defer, and you go on to the next person.
Okay.
All right.
Not a problem. With that being said, I see 2 more requests. I see Miss Monica Watson has a request to speak. So Miss Watson, if you there you go. So Miss Watson, feel free. Let me unmute you, and you've got 3 minutes, and you are set to go.
Okay, good night. This is my first time here, so
Welcome.
thank you. It's a learning process for me. I live in the Edenwald Murdoch Avenue area.
Okay.
And we have what do you call it? The raceway from Murdoch Avenue between Edenwald and Strand. A couple of years ago, we tried to get a speed bump in that area, that particular stretch of Murdoch Avenue, and they said, no, we didn't need it. They put one out by the school, which is between Edenwall and 233rd. But I can tell you, between Edenwall and Strang, it's the raceway. They go to the intersection and they do a U-turn right around there, and they come back and they go up and down. I am afraid that one of these days they're gonna kill somebody. If they would do it to themselves, that would be fine. But I'm afraid they're gonna kill some innocent person, right? And up and down. Then they go up from like Baychester up to the top of Edenwall by Seaton. There's a huge area there. I mean, it's a road, but it's nice and big. And they do wheelies, and you go out there in the mornings, you see the tire tracks. We can't get any sleep. And I've called, I've written over the past, and they said, no, we don't need a speed bump. We don't need, we really need help up here. And lately, people been double parking on the street because there seemed to be a food joint on Murdoch Avenue, which showed up. So, we have our problems up here too. So any help, please?
Okay, so as you can see, I'm looking away. I'm taking notes, so I don't want you to think that I'm not hearing you. So, my pen and pad are right here, Miss Watson. So I see John has his hands up, so I don't know if he wants to respond to you or not. So I'm going to open it up to my second vice chair, or our second vice chair, excuse me, I should say.
Good evening, everyone. I concur because I live on Murdoch between 233rd and Strang, and Ms. Watson is right. During the night, the guys come through here speeding with their M5s and the AGMs or whatever it is, and the dirt bikes now is like like how it was in Harlem with the dirt bikes flying up and down the place. It seemed to come into our neighborhood. And I actually sent emails to George about the parking, and per block, it seems there's a gentleman out there that has this big grill out there, and they close off the whole block. And if an emergency comes, you can't even get a ambulance or a fire truck through that block. That block is the part known as a party block. And it's a problem.
Now, let me ask you this question, because I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask George this as well. Now, you are the transportation chair, so is it possible, because I know George was saying something the other day about speed bumps and being able to get them. So what do we do to get a speed bump where you're talking about?
They only put speed bumps where there's schools. That's why they put one by the at Strang and on Murdoch. Yeah. What happened with a DOT refuses to put speed bumps because the cars become a projectile when they hit the speed bump, and the speed bump don't stop the guys. I mean, they put a speed bump here in my block, and they still fly through here, and you should hear them hit the speed bump. But I mean, I feel your pain because I know what's going on. It's an issue of policing. I wish a cop would just come and sit down by the church at the corner and just write tickets, because if they just do like a speed trap through there, it's ridiculous. Someone is gonna get killed out here.
So let me ask this: is it so if we can't do a speed bump, then we have to is it possible? And I see where two people are on, and I don't know if they can answer the question or not. But being that Ms. Johnson is going to speak next, so I don't know if you know Ms. Johnson, Ms. Watson, but she's the president of. She's waving to you. She's the president of the 47th Precinct Community Council. She's our next speaker. So she can probably, I'm going to ask her to tackle this question as well as, what she wants to talk about. So I'll give her an extra minute. One thing that's in the chat, I'm looking at cameras will work, the speed cameras. So if you can't get a speed bump, I think
they put speed cameras on 233rd Street, but that helped just for the 233rd Street corridor. But the side streets, these side streets are just being, and it's people who live around here. It's not the same cars come through here like every day. I mean, heavy, like I mean, it's like they're like on an Autobahn or something like that.
Okay. We're gonna have to do. we're going to have to do something. I'm looking at something in the chat as well. It says John is right.
I emailed at our Christmas party or holiday party. I met our community officer. I emailed him. I never heard back from him. I spoke to George about the issues with parking and about the people speeding through on the dirt bikes and stuff like that. So, and he did email the police, the 47. I was CC'd on that email that he sent.
Okay.
So he was trying to.
Let's do this right here. Yeah, I'm gonna, because Pam is next, so I'm gonna mute everybody, and I'm gonna have Pam on, and then hopefully she can tackle your questions as well as what she want to speak about. So with that being said, the president of the 47th Community Precinct Council is open, and you just close. You're now open again, and there we go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We also have an issue with speeding on 222nd Street between White Plains Road and Bronx Boulevard. And one of the reasons why I was on here tonight was to see if we can get a speed bump, and even better, if we can get a speed camera. But the thing is, with the police officers, is that on Bronx, on 222nd Street, they do donuts in the street, and it's just so bad that you can see like the marks on it. When you call your NCO officers, by the time they arrive, the person is not there anymore. So that's the thing. Or sometimes if they're doing it, some people hesitate to call because they feel like it's not going to last that long, or and it's not going to last that long. But what you can do is, if it's around the same time, you can have cars stationed at the block. That you can do. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. One of the things that I found that was really, really effective, if you email me, I forward it to the 47, and it creates a document, a paper trail. And once it creates that paper trail, they do reach out to you. That's one thing that they do. They will reach out to you. Matter of fact, I just want to commend George Torres. Even at our 47 meeting, someone had a issue that was not an NYPD matter. He addressed it. It was done via email. And I just want to thank you, George, so much for that. So, we work hand in hand with each other with the community board. When I finish, I'm gonna put my email in the chat, and you can email it to me, and we will forward. And if they don't get back to you, they should get to you literally by the end of the week. They literally should get to you by the end of the week. If it's a consistent problem, I'd say give it 2 days, because I'm not sure what days they're off and what days they're on. But what I wanted to come on is to tell you that at Eastchester Heights, 3480 Seymour Avenue, we were able to be a part of a grant that is going to give us 400 boxes of food every Tuesday at 1:30, and it's going to be for 6 months. It's going to be for 6 months. So if you know anyone who is in need of food, who has a hardship, please I'm going to put my email in the chat, and they can contact me. If you have churches online now, just contact me, because, after a while, you do it from week to week to week. A lot of the boxes go on, they don't get taken. And I just want everybody in your community to be able to get it. So once again, I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you have issues, I'm going to put you in touch with your NCO, and I'm going to put you in touch with community affairs as well. And we can take it from there.
Okay, so thank you very, very much, Mrs. Johnson. As I said, that's why, as you said, we do work, hand in hand, and I do appreciate that. And again, we've got our district manager, who is also an excellent resource, but somehow or another, because even on my street, I live close to Gun Hill Road, and you hear them doing the same thing, speeding as well. So I think it's a problem, quite frankly, all over the 47 and the command. And so, something that, we've got to deal with. And so I know that, they were talking about that at your meeting, Pam, and then obviously we got the same problems that's going on. And so hopefully between you and I, we can hopefully get this thing together. And, like I said, with Mr. Isaac and George, we can hopefully come up with a solution. Okay.
That's right. Politics taking precedent.
Okay. So with that being said, I need a motion. So I do not think we have anything else in the public session. So I'm going to ask for a motion to go into business session. So I need a motion to close the public session.
So moved. Robert Hall, so moved.
So Mr. Hall has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Ivan Boris, second.
Oh, Ivan Boris seconded. Okay, so Robert Hall made the motion and Ivan Boris seconded. All right, so now let's unmute everybody. Oops, I did the wrong thing. I need to unmute, not mute, excuse me. So, way of having the roll call, is there any?
Of course. We go through this all the time.
Excuse me, executive session.
I wasn't entirely sure how to
Say hi.
You're gonna have to mute everyone.
Mute everybody. Yes.
You need to mute everybody.
No, figures itself out. I don't know.
Okay, so assuming that everybody, okay, so they're trying to put my hand up through Ursula to speak. All right, so there's one other person. So Toba wants to speak. So Toba, I don't see you, but let's because it's 7:38 and we've got quite a bit to get to. So I'm going to give you your 3 minutes, sir, and then we're going to go into I'm gonna gavel everybody into business session. So you're up, Toba.
Okay, thank you very much. I just have an information for the community. We all know the efforts of the CB12 about the issue of homeless shelter in Northeast Bronx. We know even George went to the extent of putting it in the paper. So we had a meeting recently and we felt like the community has to be part of it. So there's a tentative plan to have a march, a rally, a protest, as we call it, on October. That will be, I believe, in October 26. It's going to be at 6 p.m. So the details will be coming out. We want to seek the partnership of every block associations, community-based organizations that are in Northeast Bronx, churches, mosques, and so many other groups. That is high time that the community has to actually rise up and do the same thing. We cannot just leave this assignment to the CB alone for what they are doing. We want to augment their efforts. That is how those people that are supposed to change a situation will be able to listen to us. So we're still working on it, but tentatively it's going to be in October. But every other organization, let them reach out to Osla or George so that we can get their contact and we'll reach out to them. That is the information I'm bringing to the board. Thank you.
Well, thank you, actually, because that's something that we're going to work on, truth be told. So, I mean, let's make sure, Toby, put your information in the chat. I think you've got my contact information, but if not, I'll make sure to get it to you because that's something that, we're actually talking about that. So I'm going to mention that in my report as well. So, I think we're on board with that. And I want to hear what you're doing because you're right. If you're working with us, then that's even better. And I'm glad that you said that. So with that being said, I'm going to move us into business session, assuming that there will be no objections. And so first up, of course, is our elected officials report. And I see Assemblyman Denowitz on the call. So Assemblyman Denowitz, looks like, I don't know if he's having bandwidth issues or not, but I see also Mr. Neds is on the call as well. So I don't know if Assemblyman Denowitz wants to unmute himself or whether or not Mr. Neds wants to speak for him, but he's here and I'm looking at low bandwidth. So Assemblyman Denowitz, you are up.
Yeah, he's having issues with his audio and he's trying to reload it.
Okay. Okay. So where's Mr. Nez? Is he around?
Oh, yes. I'm actually right here. Can anybody hear me? Or yep,
we can hear you, Ivan.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So, like I said, the assemblyman's trying to get back on. He's just going to reload the system real quick. One of the issues that he was going to address is the issue of speeding and dangerous driving. I am going to be putting into the chat a link that our office has established for people to, put in any complaints that they might have about that. It's been an issue throughout the Bronx. We've had it in pretty much all the neighborhoods that the 81st Assembly. So I'm going to be putting that in the chat now. But obviously the Assemblyman wanted to speak as well, so I'm going to see if I can get him on, if that's all right.
Certainly, because I also see Victor Martinez is here as well. I'm trying to think who else. And I see Kevin Raleigh's on, or he was on. I think he's still here. So let's see. So is the Assemblyman? You say you're still trying to get him on available, right?
Yes, he's just reloading the screen. He was having an issue with his mic, but hopefully, I mean, he was on just a moment ago. Hopefully,
Okay. So do you mind if I go to Kevin Raleigh from Speaker Hasty's office and then come back to the Assemblyman?
Oh, yes, certainly. No problem.
Okay, great. So with that being said, let's do this. So Kevin, are you still there? Let's see, Kevin Raleigh, are you still there? If not, we will move on.
You have Victor from the controller's office.
Yeah, that's what I say. I see him. So Mr. Martinez, you're up. How are you doing, good sir?
Hi everyone, I'm doing
Hi,
good.
how are
you? So, hi everyone, my name is Victor Martinez. I'm here from the office of New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. I have a couple of announcements. One of them is that today the comptroller joined with the Senator Jessica Ramos and call on the mayor to extend and expand the Open Streets program for pedestrians, cyclists, restaurants, and as well to allow small retail business to offer more goods and services outside. And also they call to provide guidance around heat lamps for the weather that is right now like cooling in some way. The other announcement is that the comptroller as well sent another letter to the mayor and DOE chancellor calling on the city to designate an interagency director of students and temporary housing that will be charged with addressing the educational needs of this population. You know that there's a lot of kids like in shelters right now, and it's difficult for them to have access to the internet or even like to the technology to be able to like to be part of the classes. So the comptroller is recommending to have a person designated to actually help and support the kids that are in shelters. And lastly, we have published a back to school guide on our website, and I'm going to include the link here on the chat where you can find like different kind of information related to the school reopenings and all this difficult process in many ways. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to add as well my contact information on the chat.
Okay, Victor, can you repeat what you said about the heat lamps again, please?
So basically, you know that right now that there's like the street openings and like the restaurants can be outside and like providing services and this kind of stuff. There's no guidance right now related to heat lamps like that restaurant can put like to help right now that it's like getting cold. So the comptroller is requesting like to create these guidelines and to actually the city to permit to these restaurants and other businesses to be able to put like heat lamps.
Okay. Okay. So, and you're going to put everything in the chat, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is the comptroller? Is he still having MWBE University? Because I know a lot of people on the in this call probably has been thinking about starting their own business, especially with COVID and people are losing their jobs. So is the comptroller, is he still doing the MWBE University?
So I have to get back to you on that. I believe so. Then in any case, I can send George the information of the next MWBE University courses that we're going to have, and then he can share it with everyone.
Okay. Okay, that's fair enough. All right, thank you, sir. I do appreciate you, Mr. Martinez. I really and truly do. So now is so Assemblyman Denowitz, is he ready?
I'm trying.
Hi, sorry, we're still trying to figure out the technical issues, but hopefully.
Okay. I see somebody from Councilman Cohen's office is here. So do you mind if we go to them? Okay. So Ms. Danielowski, you are available. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
We're fantastic. Thank you for asking.
So, I just wanted to make a couple quick announcements, just so everybody knows that our office is now open by appointment, and that we are still, able to help by email and phone. We wanted to remind everyone that the census ends in less than 6 days, and you can fill that out by phone, email, or online. For the upcoming election, early voting is going to be starting on October 24th, and it's going to go for 9 days. If you have any questions about the closest location, you can call or email our office. I can link my personal email in the chat as well. And then lastly, I think Victor just talked about this as well, but there's going to be a hearing about the future of restaurants and outdoor dining next week. And just to keep that on everybody's radar, and talking about the legalized propane heaters for outdoor dining and extending the outdoor dining past December 31st. So a hearing will be happening on that next week. And just to remind everybody to, again, to fill out their census and make sure that they vote. They can do that by absentee ballot or early voting or in person the day of.
Okay. Why, thank you, Ms. Danielowski. I appreciate it. And please give, the councilman our best. I know that your office is still busy doing work on behalf of the residents of the 11th Council District. And so, we want to pass along our well wishes to your office as well as to, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So, Assemblyman Denowitz, we're back.
Yes, I'm still on the phone with him, trying to figure it out. We've tried different computers. We're still working on it. Sorry about that.
But
Okay. Because I think is there all right. Well, we will I'm trying to see, is there any other elected official on? So anybody from the DA's office, anybody from Speaker Hasey's office? I thought I saw Kevin, but maybe he's off. Anybody from Councilman King's office? No? Okay. So elected officials report outside of the assemblyman, we will move on because like I said, we got a bit to get to tonight. And we're going to go on to the Bronx Borough President's report. So is Miss Alexis Ruiz on? And let me ask this question, George. Is Alexis is Alexis on the phone tonight? Do you know? Because I don't see her. I'm looking at the numbers and I don't recognize all of them.
Yeah, I don't know if she's attending this evening.
Okay. Okay. So Alexis may not be attending. And if that's the case, then we'll go directly to my report then, if that's the case. So I will go to my report and then go from there and address some of the issues that we've discussed already. So let me do that. Boyd, if you would be patient with me. And let me go. And I am hoping that this is sharing. So you should be seeing my screen in a little bit. Okay. All righty. I don't know what's happening here. Let's see. Technology can sometimes be, let's try this one more time. Let's see, share. Okay. All right, so can you see my report? No, I don't see it yet. Okay, what is happening here? All right, please forgive me, everybody. Sometimes, as I said, technology can really be a pain. Let me try this one last time. And if it doesn't work, then I'm just going to read it. Okay, so can everybody say, okay, everybody should be able to see that now. Okay, great. So most of you have this already. This was sent out via email, so definitely all board members have it, and hopefully members of the community has it as well. So I'm not gonna read through everything because a lot of it was is pretty lengthy. So there was a test and trace briefing that was held on June the 29th, in which we addressed some issues that district managers, as well as the chairs or vice chairs of the community board spoke with the health commissioner regarding COVID testing, and so we'll touch base on that a little bit later on. But what I want to do is kind of sort of follow up on what Mrs. Sotomayor talked about, and I'm sure the assemblymen want to talk about as well. And this is regarding the shelter on 4747 Bronx Boulevard. So as you can see, there's a chronology of things that have happened over the summer break. And if you're a board member, then obviously you received a letter that myself, along with the Assemblyman, Councilman Cohen, Congressman Engel, and Senator Bailey signed. And as you also know, we got a response back. And again, I shared that with members of the board. And needless to say that outside of the board, none of us were happy with the response. And so we pressed the issue and we spoke with Ms. Erin Drinkwater on the 26th of August last month, and we still were not happy. So we had a follow-up call yesterday, and that's what Mr. Sotomayor was referring to, in which we spoke yesterday. So we had a follow-up call with Ms. Drinkwater, and needless to say that Mr. Sotomayor was right, because she still really said a whole bunch of nothing as far as we're concerned. One of the things that Assemblyman Denowitz did state during the call, and Mr. Sotomayor mentioned this already, is that we are a working class community. And it is a very bad look for you to capitulate to the Upper West Side, but yet and still ignore the residents of this community board in this district. And so what I told Ms. Drinkwater was that, we may not have $1 million mansions, but we work hard for the mansions that we do have. And we treat it as though they're $1 million mansions. And so I referred that message to Ms. Drinkwater, who was a deputy commissioner, and let her know exactly how we felt. Moreover, I told Ms. Drinkwater that what makes the situation worse is that the agency states that it's temporary, yet and still, if you've driven by 4747, because I drive by there every now and then just to see what's going on, and they've erected benches. And so my comment to her was that you don't erect benches unless you're thinking that it's permanent. So I see Assemblyman Denowitz is on, so I'm gonna let him speak in a little bit. But to me, that seems like that's more permanent. So I asked her for a specific ETA as to when they are leaving, and quite frankly, the response was she didn't know. And the other response was she wanted to dispute what we've all seen in the news regarding the Lucerne Hotel downtown. She said yes, even though it would appear that we were leaving, she was like, it's not so fast. So I also mentioned the Fair Share initiative that Mayor de Blasio has initiated. And I said, well, what about fair treatment? I said, because the residents of Community Board 12 do not feel like we've been treated fairly. And as I told her before, that's unfair to the assemblymen. That's unfair to us as residents and constituents. And that's unfair to Ms. Jordan, who normally comes here and she takes a beating from us. And so that's one of the things that I referred to Ms. Drinkwater. And so pretty much what she said was, well, let's follow up next month. And, hopefully I'll have some information to share. So with that, I'm going to stop what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to turn it over to Assemblyman Denowitz, and I'm hoping that I can stop this because right now my computer is acting up. So Assemblyman Denowitz, you are on now. So are you ready?
Hi. So we're actually we came up with an interesting idea. I have the assemblyman on speakerphone.
Okay.
To see whether or not he can speak through my through my phone, through my laptop to everybody. So I mean, I'm gonna have him speak now. Maybe it'll work.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay, first, you can't see me, but that's okay. And I could see you, but I can't hear you except through the phone. And I'm doing everything right. So my suggestion is get Zoom instead of this system. I don't like it one bit. Okay, I will try to be as brief as I'm capable of. I know you're talking about 4747 right now. I'm only going to talk briefly about it because I know everybody wants to say what's on their minds. And we were on the call together the other day, and I will just, I guess, almost repeat what you might have said. And that is, I found the call once again very frustrating. And the reason I find it frustrating is because, and I said it on the call, and I think one of you mentioned it, that if you live in a very well-to-do area such as the west side of Manhattan, where you can hire a high-priced lawyer, you know, maybe you can make progress with trying to deal with issues like this. But if you're in a working-class community, I believe the city finds it much easier to think they can get away with doing the wrong thing by the community. So I don't think any of us have solved this. I know Councilman Cohen and Senator Bailey, Congressman Engel, we've all been trying to pitch in along with your board members and of course your district manager. We don't have a date certain as to what they're going to do because I don't think the city knows what it's doing at the moment. But we are not going to, we're not going to let go of this. We're not going to stop fighting with them because as far as I'm concerned, a promise was made several years ago about the use of that site and the city broke that promise. And I don't like when people break promises. So I know a lot of you have a lot to say. I won't say any more, but I just want to mention a few other things while I have the mic, so to speak. As you may know, we passed a new law. It was actually a law that I wrote that allows anybody and everybody to get an absentee ballot, and all you have to do is check off the box that says illness. If you're concerned about going out to the polls because you're afraid of catching COVID or anything, you can apply and get an absentee ballot. And you should do that if that's the way you want to go. But if you want to vote in person, you vote at your regular polling site. And if you want to vote early, you're assigned to a particular site. I believe the sites that cover Board 12 include St. Anthony's, and I believe it's Buckley Methodist Church. And I know the district leaders from the two assembly districts, Kevin Riley on the east of Barnes Avenue and Eric Dinowitz West. I know they've been working very hard to make sure this process goes smoothly. As Ivan said, the issue of the drag racing and the speeding, it's all over the place. It existed before the virus, but it's gotten so much worse. As soon as the roads were emptied in March, we had drag racing, donuts, motorcycles, and every possible noisy thing. It's happening all over my district, and I think it's happening all over the city. We've asked the police to step up on this issue. I know the police are dealing with more serious issues. When I say serious, I mean murders and shootings. That is more serious. But this is an important issue, the quality of life in our communities, and it's also a safety issue. So I think we need to continue to press the police on this issue. And I represent parts of 3 different precincts, and we just need to really push on that. In addition, I do believe that speed bumps help. The city is not being very generous about doing speed bumps right now, but we still have to ask for them where appropriate, and I think especially near schools. And the other thing that we need to do is many of the schools already have the speed cameras that we authorized in the state legislature, but I think for those school zones that don't have the speed cameras, we should ask for them. But right now, the speed cameras, I think, only operate between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. That means if somebody's doing this after 10 p.m., they're not going to get a ticket from a speed camera. So I think one of the things I'd like to see us do up in Albany is to expand the authorization for those speed cameras to make it 24/7. There's no reason why people should feel more concerned about speeding during certain hours, and once 10 o'clock hits, that think they can do whatever they want. So we're going to work on that. But meanwhile, it's really aggravating when we hear all the noise, and I know people are concerned about safety issues. The last thing I want to mention is sanitation issues. I've been around my district, and I have noticed all over the place that sanitation is kind of gone downhill to a certain extent, some places more than others. I know there's been big cuts in the sanitation department's budget. I know that in certain areas they're not picking up the garbage in commercial districts 7 days a week, I think in all areas actually anymore. And that's another big quality of life issue. And we have to continue to work on that. But I, for one, our office is trying to address that. And I know that that the board, certainly, I know George deals with these issues every day. So I'll stop there, but I just want to say to everybody, thank you so much. I know it's been a very difficult time. I know this is I don't think it's the best way to meet. I like to see people face to face, and you can't even see my face, which is a really big loss. But I think there's no substitute for being in person together. And I look forward to the day when we can do that. But just know that our office, any problem that you have that's in my district, we stand ready to help. And I think Ivan put up some of the links to deal with the drag racing issue. But it's a tough issue to resolve, but we can't let up on it. So thank you so much for giving me a few minutes to speak. Sorry about technical problems. I have no idea how any of this works. So maybe it's all me.
Well, it's not you, Assemblyman, because trust me, sometimes technology is funky, but we somehow or another managed to plug through it, and you did, and I think everybody was able to hear you. And for the most part, I was telling the board and the residents about what happened yesterday on our call yesterday, and how pretty much I think between yourself, myself, and Mr. Sotomayor, we kind of sort of covered that. I think we also asked them about future shelters as well, because we wanted, if you remember yesterday, Commissioner Drinkwater said, well, she would help us with economic development. And, as you remember, my response to her is, we're going to do economic development, whether you help us or not. So, we're going to do that anyway. What we don't want are more shelters in our community district. And so I think between yourself, myself, and some of the residents, we made that perfectly clear. And the fact that she was unaware that the provider had erected benches for the residents of the shelter was troubling at best. So I think between your office and between our district manager, myself, and as Mr. LeCrown said, the community, we'll get it done, and we'll get these guys out of here.
Okay. I look forward to continuing to work with you, and thank you for all that you do.
Not a problem. Thank you, Assemblyman. So, all right. So again, thank you. I'm going to try to put my report back up, and I'm going to try to be like I said, brief as possible. And I'm hoping that this works. And I'm hoping that, again, because we know that technology can be a little bit funny. And I'm hoping that you see my screen. There we go. Okay. So I think we've said enough about the shelter. So as you know, we're working on it. I want to say someone mentioned earlier about George mentioning, or Mr. Torres, our district manager, I should say, in the public relations outreach. And so, luckily we have Mr. Jason Cohen, who is a very good reporter. And so he's done a lot of work with us. And we have some other reporters as well as working with us. I think, Ms. Barsadi and I have been talking about outreach. And so that's one of the things that we're going to do is reach out to our network of reporters and get some of these, get some of the word out about some of the transgressions that's going on as well. We've also had, during the summer months, we had consultations with various community boards regarding, some of the projects that we're looking at doing here at CB12. So in particular, we spoke with the district manager. So our district manager's colleagues, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Warnicki from Community Boards 9 and 11, respectively, about giving some advice to myself as well as Ms. Bennett in the budget committee. And in fact, Mr. Rivera was a guest not too long ago. in regards to COVID-19 testing, I'll just say that, and I think most of you know this already, but for the community at large, Community Board 12 is now a resource for you to get your COVID test. So someone from HHC was supposed to be on the call tonight, but they canceled on us at the last minute. So hopefully they'll be with us next month. But to make a long story short, you can get tested at Community Board 12 from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day of the week. So if you have not had your COVID test, please go get it. If you've had a COVID test and you need another one, please go get it. As I said before, this is for not only us board members, but the community at large. I think the good news about this is, of course, is that we can be seen as being proactive in our community and looking at the healthcare needs of our community and making certain that we bring our infection rate of COVID lower than what it is. The bad news, of course, is that they have our meeting space. So, at the earliest, we won't be able to get back in there until March, presuming that the pandemic will be over with by then. In August, we had a meeting with Parks and Recreation with Commissioner Rosa. And so to touch on my fraternity brother, Mr. Williams' point, so one of the topics was, of course, the RC track that you'd mentioned earlier. And so that was a pretty big topic with us, as I said, so we're still fighting rigorously for that. So as I said, Brother Williams, so hopefully you and I can get together with Mr. Boris and his vice chair, Ms. Bond, and come up with a plan to propose in order to keep that. And in particular, if you guys want to actually put in some manpower work yourself, that's even better because that will hopefully, help us facilitate that. So let's make sure that you and I touch base after the meeting, and we can bring Ivan and, Mr. Boris in on this as well. I want to congratulate Community Board 12 in that we were selected as a Bronx Community Health Network Community Partner Award recipient. And this is one of the legacies of Dr. Hall in making relationships with Ms. Paulette Spencer, who is, one of the outreach coordinators for the BCHN. We were able to cultivate that relationship between Ms. Spencer and Dr. Hall, who was then able to put Ms. Spencer in touch with Mr. Lanzano, who, of course, as you know, is our health chair. And they have been coming to our meetings, and they felt us worthy of the award. And so that took place on August the 12th. And once I get a chance to get with Ms. Spencer so that we can coordinate our schedules, hopefully we can get that award, and then I could bring it to the board to show the board and the community at large. One of the things that we did over the summer months, of course, was that we had our first summer retreat. So we had our first community board summer retreat. So I want to, first of all, thank Mr. Jerry Bennett for putting that on. And she's had this idea for quite some time. And as most of you know, my leadership style, if you have a good idea, then I'm going to listen to it. So whether it be Ms. Martin and Mr. Figueroa with the resource guide, whether it be Ms. Barsati's idea, whether it be Mr. Bennett's idea, anybody's idea that's good, I'm all for. So we had a summer retreat, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Now, I wasn't happy with the attendance per se, but the good news is that, we're going to do this again pretty soon, okay? I do want to say this is that, we have to ask ourselves, what do we want to do and where do we want to be? And I say that because, Mr. Figueroa, which I thank very much, was able to attend this retreat while he was camping. So he was out camping, but yet attended, and then some of us that weren't camping didn't attend. So we've got to ask ourselves, what do we hope to gain out of this? But like I said, Ms. Bennett has agreed to do this in the future, and so we're going to do that again. I also want to thank the following committees: Economic Development, Budget, Bylaws, for meeting multiple times over the summer while we were on our recess to try to get things together for us as we move forward this year. The Housing and Transportation Committees met during the summer. Actually, I want to say they met this month. I think maybe one of them met in August. At the time, it's starting to run together. But anyway, I want to thank the chairpersons for those committees. Ms. Benitez, Ms. Bennett, Mr. Stricker, Mr. Hall, and Mr. Isaac for their work, as well as Ms. Brasati for just working and grinding over the summer months along with myself to make certain that we keep our board going, because as I said before, things always are continuing to happening in our city. Last two items, I will mention that we had the Parliamentarians of Metro New York workshop, which was very good. Several board members attended, and we learned quite a few things, and hopefully you'll be seeing those things implemented as we go throughout the board year. And last but not least, Bronx Borough budget consultations. On September the 9th and this past Monday, our district manager, Mr. Torres, Ms. Green, and myself attended these meetings with various city agencies. Now, I can go on and on, but we've got quite a bit to get to, so I'm going to stop. Some of you have already told what happened during those meetings, and for those that don't know, just reach out to me, because as I said before, I don't want to take up too much more time, and I know that our district manager is up next. So with that being said, that is my report to the board and to the community. And if you have any questions, as I said before, I'd be more than happy to answer them offline. But since we have a number of things we need to get to, I'm going to stop and move this along to the district manager's report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's really good, all of you. I hope you can hear me. This is going to be a little bit, so please with me. Good evening, board members, and welcome back to our new year. July 1st was the beginning of the city's new fiscal year, which ends on June 30th of 2021. All the summer months of July and August, but that's not entirely true, as some committees did meet over the summer. September always serves as the beginning for each board. We welcome back our board members from summer break and focus on the long haul of what we would like to accomplish for the year. 2020 marks my 5th year at the board, and while we have made great strides, I'd like to use my time today to lay out my vision for this coming year. Let's start by saying 2020 has been a very challenging year because of COVID-19. This pandemic has laid bare all the inequities that many minority communities live with day in and day out. The difference is now the rest of the city can feel it, touch it, and see it with their 2 eyes. There is anxiety in the air because of the uncertainty surrounding COVID-19. There are 25,000 plus deaths in New York City, or the state of New York, as of writing this report. Nationwide, we have seen the death total reach more than 200,000 Americans. We have seen this pandemic hit minority communities especially hard, and we have seen politicians from all halls of the federal government to our local elected speak to its impact on the community. At the end of the day, I've spent a great deal of time thinking about how or what I can do to answer some of those concerns. As I lay out my vision, please be patient with me, as it will take time to reveal itself. From the first day that I started here, I always wanted to get my house in order. It should be noted that this is an ongoing process because my house may never be in order. But there are things that we are required to do as a community board, and I think we should do them well. We are responsible for 3 things. The first thing we are responsible for is to make planning and zoning decisions. Secondly, we are to make a district needs statement, which consists of holding budget consultations with city agencies to prioritize expense and capital requests. And finally, to help mitigate community complaints. Each community board is comprised of 50 board members. Currently, Community Board 12 has 40 board members. Our chairman, Dr. William Hall, has resigned. His resignation will take effect on Wednesday, September 30th. There are still several board members that have not participated in any of our virtual meetings since this pandemic has started. Just so everyone is aware, Community Board 12 has only canceled 1 meeting as a result of the pandemic, and that was in March. COVID-19 was still very new, and no one knew what to expect, and no one was meeting in person at the time. Since April, we've met as we normally would, but only virtually on BronxNet Channel 67 or their streaming services or streaming on Facebook Live. We've had a forum for only 1 of these meetings. That was our June meeting where we were able to vote on minutes and other items that were before the board. I'm stating this tonight, considering all that has happened in the last 6 months. I think board members that are having trouble with technology or refuse to adapt should consider resigning. Please be mindful of the burdens you put on other board members by not attending meetings. This new medium of meeting virtually will be how we meet for the foreseeable future. I can even envision a future that we may no longer require in-person meetings. Hold on, I lost my spot. Community boards are governed by bylaws that are voted on by its membership. It is a set of rules that govern how we do what we do. So for example, Article 3, Section 4 lays out the provisions for the removal of board members. They read, an appointed member may be removed for cause by the borough president or by a majority of appointed members of the board. Cause shall include 3 consecutive absences from meetings or the unexcused absence from more than 1/2 meetings in a period of any 1 year. The chairperson shall have the power to excuse a member from attendance at a meeting for a valid reason and upon communication from said member. Such communication and chairperson's decision shall be in the minutes of the meeting. I'm reading this to you because over the summer, our bylaws committee met several times to try and lessen the burden of board members' responsibilities by trying to make removal automatic without a public hearing or a vote for removal by board members. It should be noted that our bylaws have been in effect since January 2000. Father Gorman, our former chairman, never brought a vote for removal against any board member during his tenure because he did not want fellow board members getting into heated arguments about who should be voted out. He thought this should be the responsibility of the borough president's office, who appoint all board members. It should also be noted that the borough president's response to this charge was that we have provisions within our bylaws to deal with absentee board members. I think the rules we currently have in our bylaws adequately addresses what is required to deal with absentee board members. There's no need to fine tune it or rewrite it. We should do it, literally. Give those members who have not met the criteria for removal the opportunity, who have met the criteria for removal, the opportunity to explain themselves, and then vote on their removal. The power already exists, it just needs execution. I understand that this may make for uncomfortable discussions, but that's part of what you signed up for when you decided to become a board member. Now, my vision for the composition of our committees. Currently, our bylaws state that we have 11 standing committees. They are laid out in Article 6, Section 1. In addition to our standing committees, our chairperson has added 4 more ad hoc committees, and they are, number 1, the ad hoc committee on creating a 501c3, number 2, the ad hoc bylaws committee, number 3, the ad hoc legislative affairs committee, and finally, the number 4, nominating committee. That brings the total number of committees to 15 committees. This means that we must have 15 committee chairs. Right now, we have 1 board member serving as the chairperson of 2 different committees, which is against our bylaws. Our acting chairman, Dr. Burke, has sought vice chairs because some of our chairs have been missing in action, but this means we must have 15 additional board members serving in that secondary capacity. Each committee is comprised of 4 to 7 board members, which means that even at a minimum composition, some board members would have to serve on multiple committees to keep them viable. It should be noted that our land use committee is committee on the whole, which means all board members make up that committee. Dr. Burke recently put together a calendar of meetings so that these committees would not overlap on any given day. As a result, there are meetings scheduled for every day, with the exception of Fridays, for 4 days a week. There are some exceptions so that board members can attend other meetings like the 47th Precinct Council meeting. I will just say that there are more meetings occurring in the community than the 2 carve-outs we make for, like, the 47th Precinct. The Woodlawn taxpayers and the Wakefield taxpayers have scheduled meetings that many of our board members participate in. If you are a member of a committee that meets on those meeting nights, then you have a choice to make, and it hardly seems fair. Now, I don't know about you. That seems like a lot of meetings, and it really doesn't leave room for you to lead productive lives outside of your responsibility as board members. Many of you know me. I'm happily married with 2 teenage boys at home. I also like to cook. I like to watch television. I like to talk to my family. Meetings that are scheduled for every night of the week does not make this possible. Moreover, that means more work for you, board members. That is 15 committee reports that need to be written. That is 15 committee reports that need to be read by board members so they can make informed decisions. That is 15 reports that may need to be followed up during full board meetings like tonight. These meetings are already 3 hours long. Now, as much as I love the sound of my voice, nobody wants or needs to see me or anyone else on this board go on for 3+ hours. I've suggested previously that there should be 4 committees. Even I believe this is one too many committees, but I will explain myself. I do not have nifty sounding names for these committees, but I will explain what will be covered in each committee. The first committee would be a combination of our core functions as a community board. This committee would cover all land use and planning initiatives raised by the city. This committee would also cover all housing concerns, including construction and after-hour permit requests, and economic development concerns. This committee covers planning initiatives. Since this committee covers planning initiatives, I would also include the responsibilities of those issues covered by education, parks, and sanitation committees. Because this committee covers housing concerns, issues like housing for the homeless would also come before this committee. The second committee, I'll call it the Municipal Services Committee, I lied, I do have nifty sounding names for these committees, would cover all uniformed and non-uniformed services of our city government. This committee would cover issues for most city agencies like the NYPD, FDNY, and DOT. The purpose of this committee would be to capture everything that is not covered by the first committee. For example, how is the city dealing and responding to this pandemic would be covered by this committee. The city's response is multifaceted, with more than one agency dealing with different aspects of what's going on. Our committee needs to reflect this reality and be nimble enough to handle multiple agencies in one setting. This committee would serve that purpose. My third and final committee would be a combination of the executive committee with a quorum of the members. This committee would be our largest committee. The reason for this is we need to be nimble enough to meet the demands that are put upon us to meet deadlines and requests for letters of support. This committee, and I would suggest all our committees, would meet the second week of the month. Our full board meetings like this evening are the 4th Thursday of every month. This committee would meet the 2nd Thursday of every month and would cap off a week of committee meetings. This committee would consist of at least 30 board members. The reason would be to have a majority of the board meeting the second week of the month to meet any deadlines or quick turnarounds that are required of us from time to time. This committee could hear anything that is germane before any other committee. No need to schedule a new meeting or wait for the following month for another review. This committee could act on behalf of the board because we will have a majority of the membership on this committee. The purpose is to make us faster and more responsive to what's happening in our neighborhoods. I mentioned that there could be a 4th committee, as I'm aware that some board members may feel strongly about having more committees for issues like education. I disagree, because the Department of Education already has a community meeting called the Community Education Council for District 11. Similarly, the NYPD has a precinct council meeting for the participating public. Moreover, many of our community-based organizations have monthly community meetings. It is not our job to compete against them. We should encourage more participation of these types of meetings because neighborhood associations and tenant organizations are what truly build community. This is where grassroots organizing begins. I mentioned previously many of our board members already participate in many of these other meetings, which may be the reason why we cannot even make a quorum on committee meetings, even with 4 or 5 board members. I've invested a lot of thought in this. This is not something I cooked up last week because I don't want to go to committee meetings. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. Let me say that when I arrived 5 years ago, I put in motion a plan to host budget consultations in this building. Previously, the Bronx Borough President's Office was responsible for putting it together, and we usually did it on the grounds of Fordham University. My experience was that it was not helpful for the agencies or district managers. This is no longer the case. The budget consultation process is strictly the province of community boards now. I've been able to work with my fellow district managers and the city, OMB and city planning, to put together and host budget consultations for the last 5 years. Even this year, during a pandemic, we have worked seamlessly with OMB and city planning to pull off virtual meetings that I think have gone well. We have managed to solicit meaningful answers from agencies on our priorities as a borough. I've seen real progress this year. It may not be everything to some participants, but this is where consensus begins. I think the actions I've taken have made the relationship between agencies and community boards better. I can say that people look forward to attending our budget consultation, probably because of the food we provide, but I also think that when you break bread with someone, it leads to better conversations and hopefully better outcomes for the communities we represent. My hope is you will agree with me on my vision for Community Board 12. Finally, I want to address some issues that were raised in committee. I care little for what other community boards in the Bronx are doing. I'm not motivated by what others do. I've always been a self-starter. I do not mean this out of disrespect to other community boards. This board is already setting the agenda. We are already benefiting from the vision I implemented years ago with being on television and live streaming our meetings. Before the pandemic hit, we were the only board in the Bronx on television and live streaming on Facebook. I understand that this may make some board members uncomfortable, our transparency, but our community deserves no less. As I mentioned before, this is the future of our meetings. Other boards are scrambling to do what we are doing. If your goal is good governance and being above board, then this is the result. Please do not get stuck thinking that we need committees or to change our bylaws to get rid of absentee board members. We do not. We just need the will to do it. Less truly is more in this situation. In conclusion, today marks my 1,880th day as your district manager, or 5 years, 1 month, and 22nd day of my tenure here. I look forward to each and every day at the board. Thank you for your patience, and good night.
Okay. George, you and I will converse next week. Hopefully we can, I know that you express your opinion and, we've expressed ours and, we will, we'll converse about it. But right now what we want to do is talk about committee recommendations. And right now there's 2 committee recommendations that are up. So one actually is going to be tabled. And then we're going to talk about that in the bylaws portion after the election. So the only other committee recommendation that has been recommended, of course, is economic development. So I'm going to unmute Ms. Benitez and have her bring this up on the floor so that we can have a vote on it.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I have 2 recommendations for 2 establishments. One is a renewal and one is a new application, license application. The renewal is for Mama G African Kitchen, which is located at 3650 White Plains Road. It's a plain straight restaurant, no alcohol or anything. There are no negative reports against them. So the Economic Development Committee recommends that we approve their license application. The second one is a new application, and it's called Plush. Let me see. I want to get it up. Hold on for a minute. It's called Plush Uptown Incorporated, and they're located at 4609 White Plains Road. And again, we have no negative reports on them. They seem to be very nice people and they want to be part of our community. So we look forward to whatever they do for us and with us. So I am looking for approval of this establishment, Plush Uptown Incorporated. So I do need votes on both those establishments.
Okay, so Ms. Benitez, so now let me ask you this question. Now I think the Mama G one was because I was looking at your minutes. I think the Mama G one, I think I've been there. I've talked to them, and so I guess I don't have an issue. But the other one was the guy that was saying he's got the family restaurant.
Yes, it's a family restaurant. And apparently they also have it established further down in the Bronx on Westchester Square. and I think it's the same type of restaurant. So they say they are family friendly. So when things clear up, we'll see that. But apparently they've been open even during this pandemic. I guess doing takeouts or whatever.
Okay, I guess my only thing, Ms. Benitez, and I forgot to chit chat with you about this because I guess I've been tied up with other things. The guy said he closed at like 1 or 2 in the morning, if you remember that. And I was just like, okay, did he not say that?
No, I don't remember seeing him saying that.
Okay,
Okay.
I thought I heard him say that. So, okay. So you want to vote on the recommendations? Okay. So what we need to do is we need to call the roll because we need to approve the minutes anyway. And I forgot to approve the board minutes. So let's do this. I skipped right into committee recommendations. So what we need to do is a roll call, truth be told. So the first roll call is to approve the minutes. And then the second roll call would be to vote on the recommendations that you bring forward.
Renewal for Mama G's and
Right.
a new application for Plush Up Town.
Right. Okay. All right. So here's how we're going to do this. So I kind of sort of know who's on the phone right now. So I know Miss Gibson is on. So I'm going to try to unmute her when we get to her. And I also know, I thought somebody else here was on the phone too. But nonetheless, Carla Borsati's on the phone. So I need to try to get to her as well. So I know they're on the phone.
Yeah, Carl's on the phone too.
Carl Stricker. Okay. Carl Stricker. Oh, who else? Yes, Ursula. Hang on for a second. I see Ursula.
Yeah, let Ursula do the roll call.
Hey,
Ursula's
I don't know if she's still here, but Johnny Goff was here.
No, Johnny Goff is here. I see her. Yeah, she's here. We see her.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, no, we see her. So that's it. So what I'm going to ask to do is so those three are on the phone, right? So what I'm going, and I think Miss Allen is on the phone too. I'm looking at her number, but I don't see her here. I see you, Lisa. So what we're going to do is the following.
Chantel Green is also here.
Yeah, Chantel. I know. So what's going to happen is the following: when Ursula calls your name, first thing we're going to do is we're going to approve the board minutes. I forgot to put those up. I apologize. I only have 2 corrections to the board minutes before, because the next thing after this is first correction to the minutes that I have is section 1 should go prior to section 2. If you look at the minutes that you have, and again, I don't want to waste time in sharing them right now, but section 1 should go before section 2. And on the first paragraph of page 2, it should read from, FROM. Right now it reads FOM on the first paragraph of page 2 on the minute. So those are the only corrections that I have. So what I'm going to ask to do is, when Madam Secretary calls the roll, that your first vote is to approve the board minutes, and then the second and third votes is going to go for Economic Development Committee recommendations, and then we'll see if there's anybody opposed to that. So Madam Secretary, actually Ursula is going to be filling in for that. So Ursula, feel free to call the roll when you're done. So outside of Mr. Stricker, outside of Ms. Gibson, and outside of Ms. Borsati, I'm going to try to unmute them. But everybody else, I'm going to ask if you're a board member to unmute yourself when she calls your name. Okay.
Judith.
Aye.
Egeria.
Aye.
Ivan.
Aye.
Carla.
Let's see. Carla, see if I can find you. I know that you're here. Okay, hang on. Carla, I think that's you. Carla? Carla? Aye, okay.
Marlene.
Aye.
Okay.
Victor.
Nay.
Deacon Brown is here. He's in the other room, so I have to go in there. Norbert. Dr. Burke.
This is for the board minutes. Aye.
Okay. All right. Sadie.
Aye. They're gonna get to my name next.
Evelyn. Gail. Joan.
Aye.
Robert Cumberbatch. Tolene.
Aye.
Kevin. Alfredo.
Aye.
Barbara.
Jesus Christ, come.
Barbara Gibson LeGrand.
She's here. Hang on for a second. Hold on. Let me not her number. Hold on. She's here. Hold on, Ursula. I know she's here. Let me find it. Let's see which one is Miss Gibson. I can't find her number right now, but she's here, so I'm sure she'll probably say aye. Let me see. Here she is. Okay, here she is. Hold on. Okay. Miss Gibson? Miss Gibson? Yep, okay, there she is. She said aye.
Johnny Goff.
We hear you, Dr. Goff.
Okay. Yay or nay for the minutes?
Oh, yay.
Chantel.
Aye.
Robert Hall.
Aye.
Lisa.
Aye.
Aye. John Isaac.
Aye.
Theodore.
Aye.
Carlin Zanna.
Aye.
Lucille.
Aye.
Mary. Clinton.
I'm here. Aye.
Clinton, you can't open. Open, man. What's up?
I couldn't unmute.
Okay.
Carmen. Carmen.
She's here. She was here. Hang on for a second. Carmen, you said Miss Ortiz, right? Up here she is. Hold on.
Yep.
I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay or nay for the minutes?
Yes, I said aye.
Okay. Frank Porter. Sedina.
He has to unmute me too. Now he unmute me.
Carl Stricker.
He's here. I am trying if I can find his number. I know he's here. If you can just go on, Ursula, and I'll see if I can get his number.
Nicole Weir.
Okay.
All right, I missed it. Nicole is here. Sorry, guys, I missed a couple of people. Hussein. Abdul Hussein.
Aye. I don't know.
Dr. Park, you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Mr. Stricker. About to say, because I knew you were there. So we got Mr. Hussein. He said aye, and you just said aye, Mr. Stricker, right?
I have to say abstain because I missed the last meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Denise Bond.
Aye.
Did I miss anybody else?
Did you get Miss Sadie?
Aye. She did. Okay. I think that's it. Oh no, I missed. You know I can't pronounce your name, so I apologize.
I said aye.
Afua. Is that it?
Alpha.
No, it's A4.
Alpha.
A4.
A. I get it one day. I apologize. Is that yay or nay?
It's a yay.
Lisa, did I call you?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay, and I think I got everybody.
Okay.
Okay,
Did you get Lucille?
this is
Lucille Martin.
May I change my vote? This is Victor Brown.
Yeah.
I would change it to abstain.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got you.
So the motion passes to accept the minutes. So now we're going to do the recommendation. So let me ask this question. All right. So does anybody want to change their vote from the minutes to the two recommendations on the floor? So for instance, in case in point, for me, for Mama G, I'm going to say yes for that. And I'm going to actually say no for the second one. So that's how I'm changing my vote. So I'm saying yes to Mama G. I'm saying no to the plush. My question to board members, does anybody want to change their vote before Ursula records it so that we can move on?
Yeah. Yes, this is
Dr. Burke, matter
Yes,
of
sir.
procedure. You have to take a vote accepting the report of the committee.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. I forgot. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Mr. Stricker. So, so can you give me so I need a motion on the floor to accept the.
I make a motion that we accept the report of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Stricker. I totally forgot about that. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and it's been seconded by Mr. John Isaac. Was that you, John? Okay, great. All right, so the motion has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any other unreadness?
Point of order. I just want to be sure about the location of that, Ms. Benitez. Where exactly is this Mama G's located? I'm thinking of one place and I don't know if it's the right place. 36. What's the address again? Mama G's.
Okay, I'm on. Mama G's is on 3650 White Plains. I think it's closer to maybe 215th Street.
Just before 26. Okay, that's what I'm. Okay, all right. Go ahead. You can proceed, Dr. Burke. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Hall. The question is, in order to expedite time, because the next thing we need to do is I'm gonna turn this over to Mr. Mike. Is we need to take a vote. So as you said, as you see, board members, how I changed my vote. So is there any other board members? So now that the motion's been moved and properly seconded, is there anybody that wants to change their vote?
I'm going to change mine from abstain to yes.
For both of them?
For both of them, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, no, not for the minutes because I wasn't here. But
No,
for the
I know
vote,
that, Mr. Strick. We're talking about for the approval of the motion that a recommendation that Ms. Benitez has put on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, but do we have to approve the committee report first?
Yeah, we've done that already.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's yes. Somehow it must have went through my left ear into my right. I don't know.
What? I'm trying to think. Did I slip up? Wait a minute. Wait. Actually, you're right, because I'm slipping today. I did not do that. So let me go back. You're absolutely right. I don't know what's happening to me today. So my apologies. You're absolutely right. So
that's why I'm
all
here.
in favor. You're right. Thank you, Mr. Stricker. All in favor. Okay, we have to accept the report first. All in favor of accepting the report. Okay, if you want to change your vote, so in that case, I'm going to say aye. If anybody wants to say no or abstain, please feel free to do so.
That's all.
I will say aye.
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 Everybody's an aye.
Yeah, everybody's an aye. Okay, great. That's what I want to say. So everybody's going to be an aye. And
Now you can go to my recommendation for approval.
what's that?
Now you can go for the recommendation.
Yes, now, right. So we've now accepted the report, and like I said, I forgot about that. So now for the recommendation. So I've already broadcast my vote for the recommendation. So I'm yes for Mama G, I'm no for Plush. So for the recommendation, okay, board members, does anybody want to change their vote?
Yeah, Victor Brown.
Yeah.
Change for both no.
Okay, so Mr. Brown is recording both as no.
Is that for both establishments?
That's for both establishments, Ms. Benitez. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And this is Carl Stricker, yes for Mama G and no for Blush.
Okay, so that's Mr. Stricker.
Ejaria Bennett, yes for Mama G and no for Plush.
Hold on, guys. Just hold on. I'm a little confused right now. Just hold on a second. Let me catch up. Nay and nay. So Victor Brown is nay on both. Egeria is nay on Plush and yay on Mama G's.
Yes.
The same thing with Carl, right?
That's correct, Ursula.
All right. Who else said a nay? Okay. Everybody else is yes for everybody? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Motion passes. So, so those recommendations passed, and we will move forward. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you, board members, for helping me out on that, and thank you, Mr. Stricker, because as I said before, I'm a little bit bewildered right now.
That's all right.
So, thank you. So now we're up to election of community board officers. So at this point, I turn the gavel over to Mr. Clinton Mike because he's the chair of the nominating committee. And so at this point, Clinton, the floor is yours, good sir.
Okay. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello? Good evening. Everyone hear me?
Yes, talk louder.
Very low. Very low.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mr. Mike, go ahead.
Okay. So the nominating committee met on September 22nd, virtually on WebEx at 7 p.m. The members that were attended were myself, George Torres, Ursula Green, John Isaac, Theodore James, Marlene Brown Allen, Dr. Diane Banks, and Jerry Bennett. Discussion revolved around the executive committee election and how we can possibly. Somebody needs to be muted. Not a background. The discussion revolved around the upcoming CB12 executive committee election and how we could possibly conduct the election virtually. So there was a discussion around using WebEx or Zoom. We were trying to work out some kinks on Zoom yesterday. We still have a little bit ways to go, but Zoom looked very positive with the polling feature, so that's a possibility. What else? Those and other ideas, and including a paper ballot for those of us that are technologically challenged or do not have the technology available to use. We are considering using a paper ballot for those persons. And we also were informed by that the current board chair, Dr. William Hall, had resigned his position effective September 30th. Okay. The nominating committee consists of myself, Clinton Mike, Theodore James, Marlene Brown Allen, Denise Bond, and Frank Alakpo. And so far, the nominations that were received by the committee are Dr. L. Michael Burke, who is running for chair of Community Board 12. This is just so far what we have. Ms. Egeria Bennett is running for first vice chair of Community Board 12. Mr. John Isaac is running for second vice chair of Community Board 12. And Mr. Theodore James is running for secretary at Community Board 12. I don't have any official member running for treasurer at this time. At some point, I believe we will be able to make nominations from the floor this evening, virtually. No motions or resolutions were passed at the meeting. We completed at 7:50 p.m. Respectfully submitted by myself. That's all I have. Any questions? Comments?
Okay, so board members, do you have any questions for the chair of our nominating committee?
Yeah, I have a question. I want to know, do you think this 501c3 issue or conversation has a lot or anything to do with you not having anybody for a treasurer as of yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, someone may be nominated from the floor this evening. So I don't think that really has anything to do with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, excuse me. I had one more person. Sorry. One more person that I didn't mention that's running for first vice chair, and that's Ivan Boris. Excuse me.
Just to clarify on the 501c3, the treasurer has nothing to do with that. It would have to be a totally separate person. But I do have a question. If we do have a treasurer, what are they managing? I mean, do we have a budget that they could manage? I don't understand what the treasurer is going to do. Ursula?
Hey, so you're supposed to collect money that goes into the Sunshine Fund.
Right.
And the Sunshine Fund is used to buy fruit baskets and flowers if someone's in a hospital and God forbid someone passes away. So there's a little bit of money in the bank. We deal with Ridgewood.
Ridgewood Bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the treasurer manages the Sunshine Fund.
Yeah, and creates it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious, like, if there's money in that. Anyway, that just comes into another thing. Like, how is that filed? I mean, you had to file paperwork under a corporation, or, you know, how is the Sunshine Fund filed?
It's filed, I think it's Community Board 12 Sunshine Fund. Hold on one second, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So let's ask this while we're trying to sort that out. I think this is 9 o'clock, and I kind of want to move on and get done. So let me ask this question. Clinton, again, this is your part. So are you taking nominations from the floor before Ursula answers that question?
Yes.
Okay. So hang on. She's shaking her head no. So okay. So
I don't know. I thought nominations from the floor would come next month. Check with Carl. I could be wrong.
Okay, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm okay.
Check with Carl Stricker. I could be wrong.
So are we voting? So are we voting today? Or are we voting next month? What is the nomination?
I thought it would be next month.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it up to the nominating chair. I don't want to.
That should be done next month. The committee, yeah, the committee presents the report this month, and then we vote on everything, and nominations for the floor comes next month.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so you saying nominations from the floor next month, Ms. Benitez? Am I hearing you right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. That comes from the floor next month when we vote?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hold on. There's two things to that. One, when Clinton and I were playing with, so next month's meeting has to be done on Zoom because it has the polling feature. The polling feature is what's going to allow us to vote. And for example, Clinton is going to have to serve as the host of that meeting because he's the only one that's going to have access to that poll. Now, the reason that we want to take nominations this evening, and there's nothing that precludes us from doing that, is because we want to have the poll already established going into the meeting in October. So if you do it, if we do it, we can manage it. We can do that. It's just the meeting's going to be really long because then we're going to have to create a new poll to then upload it into this feature.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why we were looking to do it today.
Okay.
And
That makes
that's
sense.
what I thought. That's what I thought. So anybody who wants to run needs to make their intentions known tonight. Yes, Alfredo.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? But what about like the people that are not on this Zoom meeting? I mean, if we do our nomination, what about them? I think everybody should be involved because I think we had a little issue last time. You know what I'm saying? When we were doing,
They should be
I
here.
think you might.
They should be here now.
My dude, I hear you. I mean, we here. We always been here. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
This is new.
so that the problem is that if whoever's here are the only ones that could nominate. So like whoever's not on this conversation next month, they're gonna say, "Oh, but nobody told me about it, and I didn't get to vote." You see what I mean?
Let me jump in on that, Alfredo. We're grown people. You know what I mean, Alfredo? I think the youngest person, and you my dude, but the youngest person here on our community board is almost 30. You know what I mean? The youngest person is almost 30. We grown, and I gotta watch my language because we're on TV, but as Cedric the Entertainer would say, we grown people. You know what I mean? And they use an adjective in between there. So we're grown people, man. You know what I mean? So people know when the meetings take place. Just like George said, they choose to. I mean, this is your thing, Clinton. They choose to be here or not. So I'm not worried about people who choose not to be here. That's on them.
That's cool. I just don't want to come back and be like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
wrong."
that's all I want to say.
You
This
know.
on you, Clinton.
Listen. So if we don't do it next month, next month not here.
Clinton, we can't hear you.
I said we can do it this month or next month. But next month, these people that are not here today are not here again next month. Then we'll be going into the next month, and then the next month, and then the next month. That'll make sense. If they should have been here tonight. They know what the agenda was. They got it. They should be here. Period.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And I'll add Alfredo to that concern is that I think Dr. Burke or maybe even Ursula sent an email to all board members. If they wanted to put their name in for elective office, they should have communicated that directly to Clinton.
Exactly. I mean, I've been doing that the entire summer, and I know Ursula did as well. So
listen, don't we have to vote though on the report of the nominating committee first?
yeah, we do. We actually do. So we do. So thank you. So I need a motion.
Motion to accept the nomination committee for positions, for community board 12 positions.
All right. So Mr. Ivan Boris made a motion to accept the report of nominating committee. Any seconds?
Second, Lisa Hayes.
Okay. It's been moved and properly seconded by Ms. Hayes. Is there excuse me? Is there any further unreadiness? All right, hearing none, seeing none, we're going to call a roll to make certain that, because this is a voice vote, we're going to call a roll to make certain that everybody accepts the report. So with that being said, let's call a roll.
Hussein? Hussein? Judith?
Aye.
Denise? Denise?
Aye.
Ivan?
Aye.
Carla.
Oh, hang on for a second. That's on me. Let me unmute her. Hold on. I think this is her number right here. Hold on. All right, Carlin.
Oh, aye. Marlene. Aye.
Hey, move my truck up. You fit.
Victor Brown.
Hang on for a second. Hold on for a second. There's too much noise in the background. Ursula. Let me mute everybody. Okay. So if you, once your name is called, please unmute yourself. Was that you, Mr. Was that you, Mr. Brown?
Yes. Aye.
Okay.
Ursula is muted.
Oh, is she? Okay. Hang on for a
Sorry.
second. Okay.
All right. Dr. Burke.
Aye.
Sadie.
Aye.
Joan.
Aye.
Tolene.
Aye.
Alfredo.
Aye.
Barbara.
Hang on for a second. Let me find her number. She's here. That's Miss Gibson. Gibson,
Yes,
do you accept the report
I just,
from the committee?
I,
Okay, that's an aye for Miss
Johnny.
Gibson.
I,
Chantel.
I,
Robert.
He said aye.
Lisa.
he said aye, and so did Hussein Abdul. Hussein is here too. He said aye. He just sent me a text in the chat. So
All right.
Hussein Abdul said aye as well, Ursula.
Okay, I got it. John.
Aye.
John Isaac.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, Theodore.
Aye.
Aqua.
I,
Carl Lanzano.
Aye.
Lucille.
Lucille, hang on for a second. She's still here. Lucille.
Aye.
Clinton Mike.
I don't even see them.
Aye.
Carmen Ortiz.
Aye. Aye.
All right. Paul Stricker. Paul
Carl Stricker. Okay, Mr. Stricker. Mr. Stricker, which one is his? By the way, Miss Bennett said you didn't call her.
Sorry. Nigeria.
From who knows where.
Nigeria.
Okay.
Aye, yea, and nay.
Aye.
Hold on for a second, Ursula. Hold on. Let me do something because people are not respecting the rules. So this is Mr. Stricker. Mr. Stricker?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer is aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, Ursula. Ursula, you still muted?
Yeah, I think I got everybody.
Okay. You got everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
That passed.
Okay. So Clinton, I guess my question to you, we're, am I understanding you correctly? We're not taking nominations from the floor tonight?
I don't have a problem with that
Okay.
because because of the new world that we're in.
Right.
I mean, it would make it a little more seamless if we could do it this month, so we can get it together for.
Exactly. All right.
That's just my opinion.
Right. Okay. So so call for nominations. Won't call for nominations.
Well, personally for me, I like to start off by seconding the nomination that Dr. Michael Burke has gotten for chair. I second it for the simple fact that he was the second first chair. I mean, he was the first vice chair over this whole COVID, even before COVID, and took on the responsibilities of chair. And I just want to commend you on that, Dr. Michael Burke, for doing a fantastic and amazing job. As you know, I ran for chair myself, lost by vote in a recount. And I can honestly say that you've exceeded and you have done more than what I could have possibly imagined in filling that spot. And I just want to thank you for taking that leadership role and doing a tremendous job in doing so.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It really means a lot, my brother. It really means a lot. Thank you very much. And the floor is still yours. So we're calling for nominations.
I'll second Dr. Burke's nomination for chair. You know what I'm saying, he's held it down. He's been here for us, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, there's nobody else that deserves that more than him. So I second that.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred. That means a lot, man. It really does.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Dr. Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
Here?
I can hear you.
All right, okay. I don't usually speak out on certain things because I like to listen. I think that's the best tool that we have. However, being on the board for the past maybe 9, 10, 11 years, I have learned a lot. I have observed others that I've learned from and others that I would not even subject myself to call names. However, what I've seen and heard from you, not only you serving the board and serving the members of the board, you step out of your zone and come into community. I have seen you reach out to the CC. I've seen you reach out to a lot of events that we have had in the community, more so than others. So I certainly will vote twice. You would get 2 votes to be chair of Community Board 12. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Even though from what I'm hearing, the election is next month, but I appreciate you, Dr. Goff. So we're still doing nominations, if I'm not mistaken. Where's Clinton? Hang on for a second. Let me mute people because it's too much noise in the background. Okay. So where's Clinton? Because I think we're still doing nominations from the floor. Is Clinton still here?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. So Clinton, we're still doing nominations from the floor.
Okay, so does any nominations open? Does anyone else have any nominations from the floor?
Yeah, but you got to call for the position, like for first vice chair. Anybody for first vice chair, second vice chair, so forth and so on.
I have 2 things I have to correct as well.
Okay.
I received the nomination for Carl Stricker for first vice.
What's that?
I received the nomination for Carl Stricker for first vice chair.
Okay.
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 And the next, and one more, I received a nomination for Judith Benitez for secretary.
Okay.
Let's just put that out there. Now I'm calling.
Okay.
Do we have any more nominations for chair of Community Board 12? That's it. Okay, so chair for Community Board 12 is now closed. Do I have any nominations for first vice chair for Community Board 12?
Clinton, why don't you tell us who the nominees are that you have right now, besides Stricker and
Go over it again.
Ivan? Yeah, go over first.
For first vice chair, we have Mr. Michael Burke, Dr. L. Michael Burke, running unopposed.
First vice chair.
First vice chair?
I mean, chair.
Yeah. Who's running for first vice chair?
First vice chair, we have Jerry Bennett, Carl Stricker, and Ivan Boris.
Okay.
Does anyone want to nominate anyone else? For second vice chair, we have John Isaac running for second vice chair of Committee Board 12. Are there any other nominations for second vice chair of Committee Board 12? For secretary, for the position of secretary of Committee Board 12, we have Theodore James and Judith Benitez. Are there any more nominations for the position of secretary at Committee Board 12? Okay. For treasurer, I have no nominations for treasurer at Committee Board 12.
Clinton, from the floor, I'd like to nominate Tolene Dickinson for the treasurer.
Gotcha. Tolene Dickinson for treasurer, Committee Board 12.
Chance to accept.
Tolene, are you there?
Okay, now I found it. Okay, sure. Yes, I accept.
Hang on for a second, everybody. Hang on for a second. Mr. Brown, can you please stop sharing your, okay. Can you please stop sharing your screen? Right, yeah, Mr. Brown, can you please stop sharing your screen?
Oh.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Clinton. What were you saying? So that was totally she accepted for treasurer?
Tolene Dickinson accepted for treasurer. Committee
Okay.
Do I have any other nominations from the floor? Okay. Mr. Vice Chair, sounds like that would be it.
Well, no, first vice chair and secretary.
First Vice Chair and Secretary what?
I'm saying that's I mean those are you said that's it, right?
Those are all the positions.
Right. Okay. I got it. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
All right. So we're voting next month. Okay. And so how are we going to vote? So we'll know. Are we going to get a paper ballot or what's going to happen?
Well, we're still working on that. Like I said,
Okay.
George said we worked on it yesterday.
Okay.
We have some kinks we have to work out of it.
Okay.
But like he said, it's probably going to be on Zoom.
Okay.
You can use their polling feature.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on because this is I'm almost done.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
So nominations for the executive committee are closed at this point, at this time.
All right. Okay. The
And
nominations
there's no more voting from the floor either. So technically next month this is good because we only have to do first vice chair and secretary. Everybody else is running unopposed.
So whoever didn't get the opportunity to vote, that's their problem, right?
Right. Yeah, that's on them.
Yeah.
But we're not voting today.
No,
we know that.
What I'm saying is that like next month people cannot come and say, "Oh, but I didn't get to nominate nobody." That's not our problem. We were here the same way other people could have been here. Okay.
Right.
Correct. I
That's
agree.
correct.
That's it.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. So, let's move on to old business. So I'm going to skip the shelter stuff because we kind of sort of beat that ad nauseum. All I'll say with district budget consultations is the following. I asked for questions. I got a few, but not a lot. What we like to do is I would like to bring in some agencies to hold them accountable, a la homeless services and housing preservation and development. Also economic development, because there was quite a bit that I was able to glean from the borough budget consultations. One of the things that they said was that we can actually develop our own properties and get more green space. And so instead of having these developers come in, we can actually develop that. And Mr. Hall gave me some excellent ideas at the executive committee meeting on Monday. So I'm going to be asking Mr. Hall and a group of us to get together and, with George to try to come up with something, because those deadlines are for our district needs statement are due on October 30th. So I think Ms. Benitez was there, Mr. Hall, and some others that were there. If I didn't call your name, it's not, like I say, it's because not that I don't love you, but I know that you're with me. And so we're going to take care of that. And so I'll be reaching out to you individually. Okay. New business. So with new business, I know that our district manager stated his opinion, and that's fine. However, I personally disagree with that. And, we'll be talking about that next week. And so I know Ms. Rosati and the bylaws committee, did quite a bit of work over the summer in regards to the bylaws. And so what I would like to ask, like I said, Carla, is your computer screen up? Let me see. Let me call you. Let's see. Where's your number, Carla? I can find you. Here we go. Okay, Carla, do you have access to your computer?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't you drive this for the revisions to the bylaws? What I'm going to do is make it available where you can share your screen, and then we can go from there.
Okay, just give me a second because I've got 8,000 things open. Bad habit. Okay, it's up.
And this is the last topic of the night, everybody.
Okay. So we're up to proposed bylaws amendments. So I will motor through this as fast as I can. What we have to do in this meeting is announce the proposed changes and then vote on them in the next meeting. This is somewhat.
Paula, are you sharing? Are you sharing your computer?
Okay, let me try that again. I thought I was. Share. Start.
There we go. That's it.
Okay, can you see that now?
Yes, it's coming up.
Oh, okay. Is it there yet?
It's not there yet, but.
Okay. Okay, I'll give it a minute so everybody who has access to a PC can see it too.
Everybody, well, I mean, it hasn't come up yet, so you'll see a little orange tab at the top when it starts sharing. It's trying to share, but nothing is there right now.
Huh. It says I'm sharing.
I'll tell you what, Carla, why don't I drive? Why don't if you can look at my screen, why don't I share it? How was that? So why don't you stop and let me try it, and then you can just read it from my screen. Okay.
Sure.
So you stop, and then once you stop, I'll start.
Okay, I clicked stop sharing.
Okay, so it's coming back, and so I'm going to try to share what you sent the board.
Okay, I see it's starting to share.
Right.
Still uploading.
Okay, so that is not what I want to share. So this is economic development. I believe this is what I want to share. Okay. So I believe it's coming up. So right now you see on my screen, you see the, you guys see, this is from economic development, right? What you see now.
Yes.
Okay. And what I'm trying to share is, there we go. All right. So this is the bylaws committee. So everybody can see bylaws, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
Okay,
let's get
just
to,
go down. Yeah.
right. I'm going down. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Can you see that, Carla?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to talk through this as quickly as possible because it's getting late. And this is a nice segue from our district manager's presentation. We proposed 6 amendments to 5 articles of the 2000 bylaws. So much of it is about giving us more room to remove absentee members. So I'll start in order of the articles. And again, I'm going to talk as fast as I can. If anybody needs me to slow down, please let me know. So first, proposed amendment, Article 3, Members, Section 4. We took out the language saying that cause was missing 3 consecutive meetings because as the bylaws committee, we felt missing any 3 meetings in a year, because that's 30%, was grounds to start dismissal removal proceedings. So the new language reads, cause shall include 3 unexcused absences from general board meetings and/or 3 unexcused absences from committee meetings within a year. So again, that replaces the unexcused absences have to be 3 in a row, because we felt if people only show up randomly, they're undermining the mission of the board. Okay, next page, Article 5, Officers, Section 1. So there are 2 proposed amendments here. One is to create the position of a recording secretary so that there is someone to take minutes while the secretary is recording votes. Then later in that same article, we inserted the language, proposed language, any board member running for office is required to have completed 1 continuous year of service on the board and 1 continuous year of service on a committee to qualify as a candidate. So, okay, moving on. Article 6, Committees, Section 2, Proposed Amendment number 4. We inserted the proposed language, no board member shall be eligible to serve as a committee chairperson until the individual has completed 1 year of service on the board, unless, because of unique qualifications or expertise, the board chairperson recommends and appoints the individual for that position. Okay, moving on. Article 6, Committees, Section 4. Again, basically, we just took out all of that consecutive meeting, missing 3 consecutive meeting language, and said any 3 meetings of committees or general board meetings. And in fact, the old language said you could miss 6 meetings or public hearings of a standing committee, and that's 2/3. So we took that out, or proposed taking it out, obviously, until the vote. And then finally, Article 10, adoption, Section 1. We inserted the language, any revision of these bylaws in their entirety shall be adopted when approved by a majority of the appointed members of the board at a meeting of the board. So some of you may remember we tried to amend the bylaws completely in 2017, but we couldn't because we never have 3/4 of the board present. So we're changing that to say a majority. So like any other vote, we just need a simple majority because again, these rules are 20 years old, so they're going to need more reworking. So per the rules in the 2000 bylaws, we have to inform the board membership of these proposed changes in one meeting and then vote on them in the following meeting. So I believe I've done that. I've informed all the members present. Any questions? Any feedback?
I do have a question. May
Sure.
What I'm hearing correctly is that if a member misses 30% of the meetings consecutively in a row, then they can start to be removed from the board. Is that correct?
No, we took out the consecutive word and said any 3 meetings of the year because the board only meets 9 months of the year. So if someone randomly misses 3 meetings in that 9-month period, that would constitute grounds to start removal proceedings. Unexcused, I have to say. I have to add. So it's no longer 3 consecutive meetings. It's any 3 meetings of a committee that they're assigned to or 3 meetings of the board in one board year.
Carla, I do have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, can you go over the second point about the secretary? Are you proposing that we have 2 secretaries instead of 1, a recording and
Yeah, I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Yeah, somebody is unmuted themselves, and I'm trying to. If you know, again, we're trying to be nice. Please mute yourself. Okay.
Hi, this is
Okay,
Ted
so I'm sorry, who is speaking now?
It's Theodore James.
Ah, okay. So yes, we are proposing that there be a primary, there is already a primary secretary role who takes the vote and keeps track of how many people are in the room, and a secondary role for the person who actually takes the minutes. Just because it's very difficult to do both at the same time. So the recording secretary, writes stuff down. The secretary counts votes, essentially.
So you're talking about 2 individuals?
Yes.
And we just nominated 1 person for secretary. So I'm just wondering if this is going to happen next week. Are we going to have a situation where we are recommending 2 positions, but at the same time we're voting for 1 position?
Well, so my understanding of the procedure is that it will not happen at the same time. We proposed a candidate or 2 candidates for secretary. That is 1 separate vote. And in the same meeting, we're going to vote to create the position of recording secretary, and then that will have to be a separate vote.
Okay.
It won't happen at the same time, is my understanding.
I guess his question, well, actually,
Wait, I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
I believe the question was getting to when would the position take effect? So if we vote for the position of assistant secretary, which I believe is absolutely needed, would it then be taken effect on the election vote that we are going to carry out at the meeting?
I believe it would have to be at a later point, right? Because it's not currently on the slate.
Perfect.
So yes, right. This is Lisa, correct? Yeah.
The meetings missing 3, and so is there a part in there, and I may have missed it? I know earlier we talked about people getting up, or not necessarily, that wasn't the wording, but it was pretty much people leaving at the end of it. And so if people leave, are they going to be in the same, I guess, circumstances? So is showing up to half of the meetings the same as not showing up, 3 times?
Okay, I some of that broke up, so I'm going to answer the question I think you asked. What I've observed at meetings is that people come in late and people leave early. So the secretary spends a lot of time just making sure he or she knows how many people, board members, are in the room at that time. So there's one person keeping track of, do we still have a quorum? And then there's somebody else typing up the notes. Did that answer your question?
Let me just say something in reference to what she's asking, Lisa's asking. Lisa, are you talking about people who leave and whether they're going to be counted as absent? Is that what you're asking?
Man, yes.
Okay, you're asking Lisa, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what she's asking. She's asking, is that going to be accounted as an absence if the person leaves before the end of the meeting? And I think we've never crossed that path. I think we're talking about a full-blown out absentee from the meeting, from the beginning of the meeting until the end of the meeting. We didn't go into the semantics of having someone leave in the middle of the meeting towards the end of the meeting. We're just dealing with the actual absenteeism from the meeting. Does that make it clear, Lisa?
Yes, ma'am. It does make it clear. I think I was just offering that because I do believe it would be kind of unfair to take care of business because they're leaving. And so I would think that they should be treated with the same, I guess, under the same boundaries that we would treat the people who are not really showing up. I'm not sure if I'm coming full clear. We'll continue.
And yeah, I know what you're saying, because it does create a problem when we go for voting of anything that's on the agenda. That's where we run into problems, because then we have to have a quorum. And then you find people who have left, and it negates having a quorum. So that's another food for thought for us to think on the next round of discussion by the bylaws and the board as to how they want to treat that going forward. It's a good rationale, Lisa, because it does affect our voting rights.
Okay, so did that answer the question, Lisa? Okay.
Yes, I'm perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're welcome. So does any other board member have a question about the proposed amendments I just read out?
I do, Carla. When you say, Carla Anzano, when you say that you missed 3 meetings, you're subject to the beginning of the procedure for removal. What exactly do you mean?
Okay, so first of all, there have to be 3 unexcused absences. So if you call the chairperson and ask to be excused for whatever reason, that's you're counted as excused. But if you just randomly don't show up and don't notify the chair, then that triggers the removal process, which, okay, I don't have my community member handbook open to that page, but, you know, it's a whole process. You have to be alerted and told that you're being considered for removal because of inconsistent attendance. And then I think it says there are so many days for the person to respond. It's a process.
So it's an automatic.
No, according to the bylaws, the way they exist now, people cannot be randomly just removed. There's a process. The person has to be alerted that they're in violation of the bylaws, and then they have an opportunity to respond.
But they have an opportunity to respond, but does that mean they can stay on the board or they're automatically removed, or does there have to be a vote of the members?
So sorry, does somebody else want to say something?
I didn't know if I was on, Carla. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. We can hear you.
Okay, what we discussed was we have people that come in, they come to 1 meeting, they disappear for 2, they show up for 1 meeting, then they disappear for 2. That's why we said 3 unexcused absences. When they hit the 3rd one, that's when they get the letter that they're in violation of the bylaws, and we are considering to ask for their removal. And they can come back and with a reason why they didn't call us. And, you know, we're not going to just throw anybody off the board. I mean, that's not the way we do it in a democratic society. We have to be elected to do that. But the key is we want to let them know that we're watching them. And, you know, we would like, since they're on the board, they should come to the board. We have a lot of people just want to go around and say, well, I'm on board 12. Yeah, what do you do on board 12? Well, not really nothing. You know? That's the type of person we want to have removed from the board.
But that's not my question, Carl. How are they going to be removed? Is there a committee to remove them? Is there a general vote to remove them? Or are they automatically removed?
No, the whole board will vote on it. All right, the full board has to vote. Actually, the chairman has to initiate the removal because he is in charge of the board. He has to initiate the removal, and from then on, the chairman is the only one that can call for a vote on the removal, and then everybody on the board who's present can vote on his request.
That's very nice, Mike. I'm sure he'll enjoy that position. My other question is on the committee. Some people are on 3 or 4 committees. Now, if they decide to make 1 committee meeting a month, and they're on 3, they're automatically going to miss 2 a month, and in 2 months they'll be subject to removal.
No. A singular committee. If you're on the big tow committee or the small tow committee, they're 2 separate committees. and each one is taken separately. And the point is, if you excuse, if the chair of the committee excuses you from the meeting, you're covered. But if you just don't bother calling up and say, I can't make it, and you just don't show up, well, then that's a missed meeting.
Well, and it's also about not overcommitting. If you sign up for 4 committees and your work or family situations prevent you from attending 4 meetings, 4 meetings a month, sign up for 1 or 2. We can't let committees go under-resourced because people overcommitted and don't show up. So pick your priorities.
And no reason anybody should be on 4 committees. If you
That
want
seems excessive to me, yeah.
The key is, as a board member, you can go to any committee meeting there is. You don't have to be a member of the committee. If you're interested, say, in transportation, but you're not on the committee, and when he has the meeting on transportation, well, you go if you're really interested in it. And eventually you may want to join that and remove yourself from another committee, like you may be in education. Maybe you don't want to do education anymore. But you're allowed to go to every committee meeting there is. Nobody keeps you out.
Right. If you're a voting member of 4 committees and you don't show up, then that committee is essentially ineffective. So yes, I'm going with what Mr. Stricker said. Attend any meeting you want, but if your vote is needed to pass a motion or a resolution and you don't show up, you're just cutting down that committee's effectiveness.
Thank you.
Any other?
Go ahead, Carl.
No, any other questions?
Okay, so there are no more questions on the amendments the bylaws committee proposed. And then we'll present them again in October for a vote. Any other questions?
No.
No?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Brown here. There's one part of this discussion that I am not comfortable with. There was a talk about people leaving the meeting before it's ending, and that would be considered as an absence.
No, we didn't put that in the bylaws.
We didn't say that.
It was discussed tonight. Is it going to be put in bylaws?
We never said that if you leave the meeting early, that's counted as absence. We never said that.
All we said was we're concerned about it, and it's something that if you want us to talk about it, we can, but we didn't say we were going to put it in the bylaws.
Okay.
Okay,
all right.
Mr. Brown?
Okay, I accept that because I would have
Thank you.
problems.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay, any other questions for the bylaws committee before we close that part of the discussion?
Okay,
And everybody can go.
this is Joan Claude. Just for clarity, I think it was mentioned about voting on the bylaws corrections. And I think you talked about in all our votes, it's usually the quorum that we need. But for this, you said something about the majority would count, the vote of the majority?
Right.
So do you have
sorry, go ahead.
So who would be considered the majority, or what number would be considered the majority?
If you have 40 people, if you have 40 people there and 22 vote in favor, that's the majority.
And the quorum would be Wouldn't that be the same?
Yes.
Yeah, basically,
so-
yes.
Yes.
Right. So if 40 board members are present, we would need 21 people to vote in favor.
And that would be the majority?
Yeah.
Yes, a majority is 51%, yes.
It's a half plus one.
But a quorum is
Exactly.
considered the same.
We just
Isn't
said
it?
that.
A quorum and a majority are not the same. A majority
Okay.
of appointed members, if you have 50 board members, then a majority is 26, not 22 of whoever's present.
They would,
Okay.
A quorum is a majority, a simple majority of whoever's present at a meeting.
That's exactly what it is.
So what is the definition then? Are you using a majority or quorum?
Using the majority of people attending the meeting.
No, we should.
That's a quorum.
That's a
It's a
quorum.
quorum, yes.
Okay, so let me reread the language of Article 10 adoption. If we choose to rewrite the entire bylaws, it states the proposed amendment, any revision of these bylaws in their entirety shall be adopted when approved by a majority of the appointed members of the board at a meeting of the board. So it's the majority of the people who actually show up to vote.
No,
So we think
it's
that's a quorum.
appointed members of the board. Appointed members of the board is the body whole. So right now we have 40 board members. A majority of the appointed members would be 21. Tonight's meeting, we have more than a majority. We have more than a majority, so we're good. But technically, this meeting could happen with a lot smaller number. So you have to be, Father Gorman was very specific in his language. That's why you have to be careful how you word these things. If you don't want appointed members, then you just say a majority of the members present.
That's
Yeah.
what we said.
No,
No,
that's
you
what
said-
it says.
That's not what,
Of
that's
the
not what I
appointed-
heard.
It says appointed members. Appointed members
Okay,
are the
wait.
body whole.
Okay, let me read it once more. And if the language needs revision, I'm fine with that. I'm open to feedback from everyone. What it says is, any revision of these bylaws in their entirety shall be adopted when approved by a majority of the appointed members of the board at a meeting of the board. So that last part of the sentence is really important. They have to be present at a meeting of the board.
Excuse me,
So
so maybe you should put in the word present. And what you're actually saying is if we have 40 members, first of all, you're not saying we need a quorum to make the vote, but assuming we do, or if 22 members are a quorum, then maybe 12 people voting can change the bylaws. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Now let's do this. Let's do this, guys. Because this 9:51, and I did not want to be here this long. So let's do this. Clearly, let's do this. So let's table this. I know we want to bring this up, but clearly there's still some confusion. So here's what I'm going to challenge board members to do. Right, I'm going to challenge you to attend the bylaws committee meetings because this has been going out. I'm glad that we're having a discussion. We had a discussion earlier when all of this went out instead of now. But what I'm going to challenge you to do when Mr. Strick and Ms. Forsati call their next meeting, so we're going to table this right now. And so we'll I apologize to the bylaws committee. I know they've been working hard, but clearly we got this done. It's running. It's almost 10 o'clock, and I did not want to be here this long. So I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to I need a motion to table this, and then at the next bylaws committee meeting, everybody who has questions, bring the question, because Ms. Benitez said there's some things that we need to, Ms. Hayes brought out an excellent point. We need to look at it. right? But my thing is, let's not wait till the general board meeting to come up with these questions. So my thing is, at the next bylaws committee meeting, let's everybody come in, ask your questions. We can flush out what we need to do. Then the bylaws committee will represent it. Oh, I see your hand. We'll represent it, and then hopefully it'll go a lot smoother. All right. That's the plan.
Okay, well, I don't think there's. I'm sorry, did I interrupt someone again?
No, what were you saying?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carla.
Oh, okay, so I don't think, and Carl Stricker, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's anything to table because we didn't put anything to a vote. Can you just do your parliamentary thing and tell me if I'm right?
You're basically right, yes.
Okay, because I was under the, okay, you're okay. I thought that we were bringing this as a proposal, so you're right. Okay, I'm making mistakes tonight, and that's okay. But what we do need to do, we haven't brought this to a vote yet. This is a presentation that we want to vote on, but clearly there are lots of questions. And again, and this is, and I know Ursula sent this out to everybody, guys, ladies and gentlemen. When we get stuff, we have to read it. All right, we have to read it, and we move forward, and then ask the questions prior to the meeting. All right, I can say that the bylaws committee and I and others, we have been communicating nonstop really since July to make certain that we get the language together, and we did put the language out. And I'm glad that everybody's interested, but we need to do our homework. All right, and that's what I want to say. And then, like I said, this is getting late. So, Clinton, I know you had a question.
I have a question. I just want to clarify one thing. Can I just say that the voting people, who they are one more time, please?
Certainly.
Please, just one more time. Let me just, so everybody know that they're here. For chair of the board, Dr. L. Michael Burke, running for chair of the board. First vice chair, Egeria Bennett, Carl Stricker, Ivan Boris. Second vice chair, John Isaac. Secretary, Theodore James, Judith Benitez. Treasurer, Tolene Dickerson. Period. I'm done. Good night.
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
it.
So here's what we're going to do. I was going to do some closing remarks, and I will say this. Board members, I'm glad to see the enthusiasm. As I said, this ran a little bit longer, actually a lot longer than I wanted. My apologies to you. If you had a birthday or wedding anniversary in the month of September, happy birthday to you. For those that had wedding anniversaries, happy anniversary to you. As I said, I'm going to close with this. I'm humbled that you as board members think that much of me to want me to lead this board. And I really and truly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And I thank each and every one of you because it is joy. And even though, we may disagree from time to time, the bottom line is that we can disagree without disagreeing well. So on that note, I was going to, say some other things, but this has been a little long, and I apologize for that. So yes, George.
Before you close, I just wanted to wish Ursula, who is the heart and soul of Community Board 12, a happy birthday. Her birthday is Monday. We are not going to be here. So, we're not going to be here in person, I should say. So let's wish Ursula a happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
We all want
to sing, I guess we can, but we're on TV and they're about to cut us out, so we can sing after we go because they're going to cut us out.
Right.
So let's sing after TV. But in the meantime, I need a motion for adjournment.
I make that motion.
Motion.
We got
Second.
no reports.
Who seconded it?
Ivan Boris.
Ivan Boris. All right. Any more on readiness?
No committee reports.
Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
9:56 p.m.
Sorry.
4 minutes.
Everybody.
Okay. Good night. Bye.
Did you say, Mr. Hall?
I thought we were going to sing.
We have
Wait. Didn't vote on housing. Was an issue for housing we were supposed to vote on.
not only that, there's a lot going on. Even more houses has been privatized. And there's a lot going on. I'm sorry, but I know it's late. I understand, but this is what you have to do as a new unit. You have to get this data out for the brethren because it's very important.
I mean, we can do that, but you didn't let me know that we had anything about in housing. I mean, other than that,
I've been very quiet because you know what? I've been very busy. But that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm just waiting for my turn. But I understand it's late. And in the essence of time, I will have to forego it. All right. But I want George Torres to call Walter McNeil tomorrow morning. Walter McNeil from Edmore Houses. Just give him a call. He needs your assistance. All right.
I called him twice today.
Excuse me?
We spoke to Walter.
Okay, he had a situation there with regards to something. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
They're not doing Wakefield. Robert, you're not talking about Wakefield tonight, right?
No, well, I wanted to bring that up, but I also had a lot to talk about regarding New York City Housing Authority. But I forego that. I have no choice.
I mean, I didn't know because
I know it's okay. It's okay because we're very grandeur, and I have no problem with that. Okay, we'll have to do that.
Because I would have put that on the
Okay,
agenda.
wait. Are we unadjourned or adjourned?
We're adjourned.
Okay, I'm just checking.
We're adjourned. So
okay.
All the information be on the agenda.
Yeah.
All the information be on the agenda that's to be addressed in the meeting.
What'd you say, Ms. Bond?
I said, shouldn't all the information that's going to be addressed during the meeting be on the agenda?
Well, not only that, I mean, that's why we have executive committee meetings. We have executive committee meetings to figure out what needs to be on the agenda. So, again, that's why I said I'm somewhat surprised to hear this.
You don't have to.
Yes, anything that is he brought up
right here,
meeting should be on the agenda.
Right.
That's how I roll. I mean, it's got to be on the agenda so that way, because as I said, I do prep work in making certain that it's on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm going to say good night to everybody because my phone's about to die.
Okay. Well, that is it. So listen, take care. Pam, I need to call you, so I'll talk to you. Okay. All right. So I'll talk to you.
Okay, so we're adjourned.
Yeah, meeting is adjourned. I thought we were going to sing, but Ursula is gone, so I guess we'll sing later. All right, take care, everybody.
Ursula's right here. Hold on. Ursula's right here.
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Y'all gonna sit there and leave me out there?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ursula. Happy birthday to you. Está poniendo.
You know what? Y'all left me out there. That's messed up.
All right. You can take me out ahead.
Now.
This silliness, right?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah. So anyway, yeah, I can't sing a lick. So y'all sat there and left me out there.
I'm leaving.
Good night.
Anyway, good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
You didn't even open up the mics anymore. You didn't even open up the mic.
Yes, I did. The mics are open.
They were not. You would have heard my mouth. I didn't approve the problem that you're going to have. Hello.
I'm here.
You have somebody that's representing the educational committee, and that person hasn't been there a year. So if you have to have somebody on the committee a year before they can be appointed to an office, then that person that you have wouldn't even qualify. So that has to be considered.
Well, again, I think the thing is, you know, as I guess if I'm going to be chair, I can make the change. So that's going to take place. So I mean, that's not.
Yes, I mean, no, that's supposed to be in, you got it on the bylaws saying that a person have to be there a year before they can be appointed to anything. But I didn't hear that the chair could do it.
No, Miss Gibson, that's not right. What they're saying is that in order to run for executive committee, you have to be on the board a year. That's what they're saying.
To be in charge?
To be right, to run for what they're saying is to run for an executive office, you have to be on the board for a year. That's
Okay, but
what's being said.
Okay, that's one thing. But if they are not for a whole year, and you still allow them, where does the 1 year come in?
Well, no, right. So I see what you're saying, Ms. Gibson. So no, so the chair, the person you're talking about is going to be removed. So it's just a matter of, you know, now me just reaching out to that person and telling them that, you know, I'm removing them as chair of the committee you're talking about. What they're saying is the following: if let's say that you want to run for executive office, right? If you want to run for an executive office, what they're saying is you have to serve on the board at least 1 year. That's what they're saying.
Okay, on the ZEC. Okay, my next problem is this. I live in the housing authority, and I don't know how you missed Mr. Hall's meeting or his statement for tonight, because you're supposed to go down the track, and you didn't even go to that category. You really didn't. You didn't. Wait a minute. You didn't even hit the educational, saying that gentleman was gone. We didn't know he was gone. You just telling me now he's gone. So you need to get an agenda for you to follow, so we cover everything, so it don't look like what just happened now. Because the housing authority are. Wait a minute. The housing authority are. What do you call that? Making these projects into Section 8, and nobody knows about it. And I don't know what happened up at Edenwald. And you didn't even mention that we're still concerned about that development on by your house. And you didn't even mention that you're following up on that. So all that
Mrs.
needs
Gibson,
to be
let me
desired
answer.
in the future. In the future, it all needs to be desired.
So let me answer your question. First of all, Mr. Hall attended our executive committee meeting. So if you want to bring that up, that was the time for him to do it, because as I said before, that's what we do. So Mr. Hall sat in on our meetings on Monday and didn't say a word about wanting to bring this to the agenda. That's when we talked about the agenda, and I said, here's the agenda, here's what we're going to talk about. The agenda went out on Friday. So if anybody had corrections to the agenda, people made corrections to the agenda at that time. So if anybody wanted to add something, they could have added it at that time. Mr. Hall was there at that meeting, but didn't say one thing about housing or wanted to add anything housing. So I'm now blindsided, and John, you could back me up on this, but I was blindsided. Oh, he just left. And actually, Carla, you're still. I mean, I thought she was still here, but I'm blindsided. So I mean, for you to get mad at me, Ms. Gibson, you should be getting mad at Mr. Hall, because he's the one.
I'm not mad at anyone.
But I'm just saying, Ms. Gibson, I can't sit here.
I'm not mad. Let me finish. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm only stating that he said that gentleman from Edenwald had called or wanted him to speak to him, but he stated also that Mr. Torres said he did speak to Mr. Walter today. So he should have been on your agenda for tonight, even whatever happened on Monday, because the day's already Thursday. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm only discussing a meeting. So watch your words. Don't put me in a category of being mad. I don't have time to be mad at nobody.
Well, thank you, Ms. Gibson. But yeah, I mean, I had absolutely no idea. So I mean, as I said, because everybody had an opportunity to say what they want to talk about, and so for someone to wait till the end of the meeting to say you know, we need to talk about this when there was an agenda. And even at that, Ms. Gibson, I'll go one step further. At the very beginning of the meeting, I actually put the agenda on the screen. So if there was anything that needed to be, I mean, obviously you can't see the screen, but if anything needed to be added and Mr. Hall had access to the screen that I put the agenda on, then that was the time to say, well, Dr. Burke, you know, can we add X, Y, and Z to the agenda? At the very beginning of the meeting, that was never done. That wasn't done.
Okay, I can understand that. But you did not open up the mic no more for me. You only opening up the mic now for me. I don't even know about Johnny Goff or whoever else was on. But you don't open up the mic. You don't open up the mic. If that's going to be the case, why should I even listen? Come on.
Well, I mean, as you know, Ms. Gibson, as I told you before, that's why I invited you to come here, because there's so much, even with people that are on the computer, there's so much background noise that is very hard to hear. I mean, you can't see the chat because you're not on the computer, but people were constantly complaining about the background noise, people that are opening up the mics. And even when I do open up the phone, I try to do that. But again, there's so much background noise, it's very, very difficult. That's why Deacon, I saw Deacon went to the board. So that's what I'm saying. So you're saying that I don't open up the phone, which is not true. I try to open it up as much as I can.
Okay, then this is what you say from the future. Excuse me, everyone. I'm opening up the board. I'm opening up the phone. Because everybody, look, let me ask you this. When it snows, we still are going to be able to have a meeting. When it snows, we still going to be able to have a meeting. I'm not going to go to your house or to the board to have a meeting. So that is one thing. But there was something else that I did not agree with, and I think that was with the restaurants. Everybody voted nay, and somebody voted yay or whatever. I didn't agree with that, but nobody got my answer. You said, oh, everybody agreed. No, I did not agree, but it wasn't open for me to agree. It's nothing
What are you
personal.
talking about, Ms. Gibson? You did vote on the restaurants. You voted on the restaurants. I opened your mic up.
No, I did. You asked, no, I did not. You better
You
look
saying
at
I
that.
didn't open your mic for the restaurant?
I voted on. I'm finished.
Okay, Ms. Gibson. Okay, Carla. Okay. Recording.